Hi, welcome to the Dartarian Show. I'm Alexander Dartarian. With me is Dominic Sykes. How you doing, Dom?
Doing good. How about you?
I'm doing well. Today we're going to talk about something really awesome. Urban legends. I mean, I don't know if you know any of them at all, like through history, from anywhere actually. But you see Lady White all the time. You also see the Hook Man and all that stuff.
Goat Man.
Yeah.
Mothman.
Bunny
Bigfoot.
Man. Yeah, it's all of them. It gets ridiculous sometimes because there's so many of them. But today we're going to talk about Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
There's a road, 11-mile road between Thornton and Brighton called Riverdale Road.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to focus on that particular spot. And we're going to start it off with the Hells of Gate, or the Gates of Hell, excuse me, and stuff. So, I mean, are you familiar with the Gates of Hell?
Yes.
Really? Okay, good. Oh yeah, I forgot you are from Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
So you probably know all of these, but we're just going to go through them. I obviously, you being from Colorado, you know the true story. But I'm going to tell the myth, and you'll just clear it up with the true story. Okay?
Yep.
All right. So the myth is actually, it's a house that was built, a mansion that was built in the 1800s,
Mm-hmm.
and he built the house, and it got passed down and passed down, generation to generation. And in the 1970s, the owner of the mansion at that time built, like, something drove him to build these gates in front of his house. Like, I can understand, gates, like, to lead up to houses, like rich houses and stuff, like, to keep the other people out,
Mm-hmm.
So you see a lot of gates. So I guess, like, in the 1970s, that was probably a big thing for gates, so it wasn't really that big of a deal to other people.
Yeah.
But he built these gates, these iron gates, and after he built them, it drove him crazy.
Right.
So he set his house on fire with his family sleeping inside.
Mm-hmm.
And killed all of them. And he was never caught.
Right.
So, I mean, the only thing left of that property was the iron gates. And they're still there today. You can go see them.
Yes.
And all that stuff. Yeah. So, that's the urban legend. So, you got a crazy dude, build some gates because something drives him to it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what it is. Was it demons? Was it ghosts? Was he just schizophrenic?
Right.
Anything could have been up with this dude because he was going batshit crazy. And I mean, you have to be crazy to burn your damn house down with your family inside.
Yeah.
So, and this particular urban legend is actually connected to a lot of the urban legends around this road.
Mm-hmm.
So it factors into everything, and what you're about to torpedo it and tell us the true story. So, it's just a great story. The fact that he was never caught is always scary. That's the scariest part of those legends, is that the person who went crazy and killed people is still out there.
Right.
And that's the craziest thing about anything, any kind of murderer or serial killer or monster. They're never caught.
Right.
Some of them are never caught. So why don't you let us know what the true story is so we can put the mind at ease for everyone who lives around Thornton.
Well, the thing about urban legends is a lot of them are based around unexplainable events, something that that builds up over time. People don't know why something happens, so that they just automatically make up a story to try and explain it. And throughout the years, it gets passed down to their kids, and it kind of just snowballs into this terrifying story and goes from there. But the truth of the mansion, there really was a fire. That part is true. And then in November 28th, 1975, that house, which was a 2-story brick house.
So it wasn't a mansion?
No, it was just a regular 2-story brick house. It was built in the 1800s, though.
So probably a mansion by our standpoint.
They built
houses pretty big back then.
Yeah. There were, however, no fatalities or injuries that were reported during the fire because at the time the house was vacant.
Oh my god! So they made up everything. Was there a family even living there?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Earlier in the year, there was a chicken house, or you know what I'm talking about, one of those chicken coops.
Yeah.
That also caught fire. And then the county health authorities had declared the house a fire hazard and a danger to the community. So they ordered the owner to evict all the tenants that were in it out. And then after that, everybody had moved out of it. Vandalism and stuff had started, but there was, at that time, because of the fire hazard and the fact that the house and stuff was a risk, there wasn't anybody in it when the fire started. Now, it was never clear on what started the fire. That we don't know if there was an actual investigation as to why the fire started, so it could just be that they didn't investigate it.
Yeah, well, I think every fire is investigated. They're probably just like, okay, the chicken coop burned down.
The official...
So, is there power to chicken coops? Like, is there, like, wires?
There can be. It depends on you know, who makes them, really. A lot of times, no, but sometimes they'll have, you know, just a single
like
utility swinging light, yeah. The official report in Denver Post, which was reported on December 4th in 1975, did not suspect it was arson or suspicious of any kind. It was just a regular,
so shit happens.
Right.
It could have been a lightning strike, really.
Yeah, it could have been a lot of things, but it wasn't like what the legend said, dude burns down the house with his family inside or anything like that.
Right.
The guy that built the house was David Wolpert, I think was his name. And he came to Colorado the same reason a lot of people did, which was, you know, for gold and silver in the 1800s. He probably didn't find anything, but he made his own fortune in farming and settling down. He had two daughters and a son with his wife, Catherine Henderson. And then he died in October 21st, 1909, and his wife died in 1915. And they're both buried in Riverside Cemetery.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice background. Damn. You really knew about the true story. So, with that, now with the house, right? People, like ghost investigators and paranormal investigators, really, because they do demonic and ghosts, they go there all the time.
Right.
So, if the truth isn't like hidden there, like people know the truth there, right?
Yeah.
So like why do you think they would go there to investigate if they know it's not true?
Because people will always try to people like being scared. They like the idea of well, not everybody obviously, but a lot of people like the idea of the supernatural, of there being something beyond what science and facts can explain. So, you know, those people are probably like, well, even if it was vacant at the time, you know, there still could be, the fire was started by demons, or, you know, or even if those people didn't die at that house, you know, maybe there was something else that had caused the house to catch fire that had happened beforehand, or
why they left the house. Or
why they had left the house in the first place wasn't really that it was a fire hazard. They were chased out and then somebody burned it down in fear or something, you know. It's hard to say, and of course the truth also, you know, not a whole lot of people are going to do, you know, research on that. You know, they're going to be like,
no, so it's hear the urban legend.
They hear the urban legend, they go and they're like, okay, I heard this place is haunted, I'm going to go check it out.
Well, like the gates are still there because we have pictures of them, and we are going to post those on the Facebook page and the Twitter account. Yeah. So along with we've gotten all of our information, all our sources. So with the gates of hell, it's an interesting story because when you think of gates of hell, you think of the feeling of like foreboding, like you go there and you just feel like a dark presence is there,
right,
and stuff. So like that kind of probably factors into it. Like even though you know the truth, but you're just like, okay, this is the gates of hell. You automatically feel that way.
Yeah, you're gonna go into it thinking that you're gonna feel something. So
with that, that's what I think were the stories. Like the gates are there. They're creepy as hell. They're the only things left standing of the house. So yeah, there's going to be like some stories to that. They're going to be like, oh my god, these gates must be like haunted, because I don't know what people think, but when a house burns down, the gate usually doesn't burn down because it's quite a bit of ways from the damn house. So I mean, like, it was at the beginning of the driveway.
Right.
So I don't understand why people would think it would burn down. So with that, we're actually going to we're going to transfer right into that to Lady in White.
Right.
And this directly correlates with the Gates of Hell, because the Lady in White is actually supposed to be the wife of the husband of the house.
Right.
So, like, she's walking, she hitchhikes, which, like I said, everyone has a Lady in the White story. Mm-hmm. Every state, probably every country. I mean, it's pretty universal and stuff. So, she hitchhikes up and down that road, and I mean, when she like hitchhikes and stuff, you go to pick her up, you open the door, and sometimes she disappears. Then sometimes she'll get in the car and she'll disappear while you're driving down the road and stuff.
Yeah, often seen in the rearview mirror as people pass by.
Yeah, it's I mean, why do you think she's going up and down the road? I mean, she was like, if the story was true, she would have died in the house. So wouldn't you think she would have been bound to that property? Not necessarily.
It depends on who you talk to and what you believe. A lot of people think that if a Lady in White is more than just a ghost, if it's a demonic entity, they're not always necessarily tied to a specific location. They can follow the people that they haunt, from place to place, or maybe even maybe not necessarily that house, but that entire road by the house could be her domain or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think the reason that she is tied there, besides obviously being murdered, is the fact that the guy in the legend, he was never caught. He killed his wife and children and burned them alive in this house. Obviously, the children were innocent; they would have passed and gone on. And then she's left wandering. Not only is she probably looking for her children, but also wants revenge on the dude that was never caught.
Yeah, absolutely. And she just can't find him, because if that story was true, I mean, he probably would have skipped town. He probably would have left.
Right.
Obviously, I mean, he just murdered his whole family.
Yeah.
Like, this is all circumstances. We know the true story, but I mean,
it's always funner to not know the true story behind a legend. It kind of takes away some of the mysteriousness out of it.
Yeah, and it also kind of puts a damper on the Lady in White, because, I mean, obviously she's not the wife of the person.
No, but I mean,
she could be a wife. I mean, she could have been the first guy's wife.
I was going to say, it could very well be the wife of the builder of the house, the original owners of the house. You never know. But it's presumed that she is the wife of the guy that burned down the house. It could be a completely separate thing, but yeah, she's normally seen around the road by the gates. So with that being a legend about them being the gates of hell, she could literally be any Lady in White. Because if you think of it as a doorway between
what
our
if it's
world,
an angel?
Well, I don't think it's an angel, because
well, she could be protecting the gates. Because humans are stupid, and we'll be like, oh, these are the gates of hell. Let's go try to open them with a demonic seance, and she could be an angel trying to keep everybody away.
Right. Well, that's one way to look at it. The legend assumes that she is trying to lure people to the gates of hell. So instead of protecting them, she's trying to.
She could be a demon.
It's very possible. Yeah, she's trying to hitchhike, and she'll end up in the back seat and be like, give you directions to take her home. And is really trying to lure you to the gates of hell, where you'll have whatever horrible thing happen to you. But
well, damn. All right. So many things happen along this road.
Yes.
And stuff. And I mean, back then in the 1800s, everybody was on horses and carriages and walking sometimes. But what we're going to talk about is the 1970s
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, which is right around
the house burned down
and stuff. Lady in White appeared and stuff. So all this stuff is coinciding in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And my belief is because interstate travel boomed in the 70s.
Right.
I mean, people were going to state to state to state to state, driving all over the place and stuff. But there's a myth about a Camaro.
Right.
A 1970 Camaro.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all black and stuff. And we'll put a picture up. It's not the Camaro, but it's what it would have looked like.
Right.
Yeah. And so it goes up and down the road, and legend has it that he was racing and wrecked on one of the bends, slammed into a tree, killed him, stuff. So it's a phantom Camaro now that people see all the time, and they'll try to get you to race them,
right,
and stuff.
The only thing I can keep thinking about when I hear about this legend is when you think ghost car, you either think a translucent, see-through,
like a Scooby-Doo kind of car.
Right, or at the very least a regular car, but nobody's driving it.
Yeah.
But in the case of the Phantom Camaro, it looks just like a regular Camaro with a dude in the seat. It's
to
creepy.
me, I think that's scarier.
Yeah, and it's even creepier because it doesn't look any different unless you challenge it or accept its challenge to a race and end up dying. Because that's what happens in the legend. If you accept this dude's invitation to race, he will race you directly to the spot where he crashed and died, and you will also wreck and die in that same spot.
Yeah. And I couldn't find anything in the research about how many auto accidents happened at that spot.
Right.
And stuff. And I don't think I even found where a 1970s Camaro wrecked. Now, I could be wrong. It could be out there and stuff.
Well, it's like any other legend. There's a lot of legends don't have any kind of evidence or anything to support their claims. But this is basically just it's people have talked. Dude, I saw this black Camaro and it was challenging me to a race, and then it took off and it kind of just disappeared, and then that person tells his friend, and then it goes around and they're like, oh wait, you know what, I have seen that, I know exactly what you're talking about, and very well could just be a dude in a Camaro. Poor guys,
trying to race,
just trying to race, be a cool dude, and all these people are terrified of him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that a car's wrecked at that spot.
Right.
Obviously, cars wreck all the time. Camaros and other cars of the 70s weren't the safest. So, I mean, like, it snows a lot in Colorado and stuff, icy roads. Obviously, there's probably been numerous accidents on this road.
Right.
With fatalities. So I can get this is more believable than most of the urban legends we're probably going to talk about.
Right.
Because I mean a car, it could be, oh my god, it's a ghost, or it's just a guy trying looking for a race. And either way, a race on a dark road, and he does come during the day.
Yeah, day or night.
Yeah, which makes me think, like, is he really a ghost? Because most of the ghost activity you see is at night for some reason. Because your mind plays tricks on you.
Right.
And all that stuff. So, but the fact that he comes during the day and night, I think it's a little bit more scarier.
Yeah.
Because you always think the light of the day is going to protect you.
Yeah, you'll be safe.
Yeah.
But no, not in this case.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. I don't know if it connects to the Gates of Hell at all.
It could if you think about it. Maybe because the legend is that the guy was driving recklessly and wrecked. Maybe it was the lady in white that caused him to wreck in the first place.
Oh, like it distracted him and he wrecked?
Right. You never know.
Oh, damn. I didn't even think about that. So, the Phantom Camaro, that is, if he challenges you to a race, if you're on this road, if you're listening, you're on this road.
And you see a 1970s black Camaro with a headlight out, do not engage in the race.
Don't race them, because if you win, you'll die.
Yep. Not worth it.
He pulls up right behind you to challenge you.
Mm-hmm.
He flicks the lights and stuff. Or one light, because the other one's busted.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. So, also with this, as you know, Native Americans, indigenous people of America, their whole land was there.
Yeah.
There's many Native American tribes that lived in Colorado. The predominant one was Ute, Ute tribe, and stuff. And so the earliest rumors of this land where this is a Native American burial ground.
Right.
Which, I mean, you hear that all the time with scary stories, poltergeist, some other pet cemetery. Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of been done to death. But if you think about it, I mean, before Europeans got here, I mean, the whole America was Native American land. Mm-hmm. And in a way, it still is their land. Yes. So, I mean, like, probably more in a way. I mean, it is their land. And so, I mean, burial grounds, I mean, they're probably everywhere, and stuff. And Colorado has been faced with a lot of circumstances that are really bad for Native Americans. Around the time the house was actually built with the Gates of Hell, there was a massacre in Colorado, the Sand Creek Massacre. I mean, it was right around where this road is. It's not directly near it, but like it's in the state of Colorado.
Close enough, yeah.
Yeah, it's close enough to where ramifications,
Right.
So, I mean, that was a huge deal.
With Native American burial grounds, they're very sacred places. So, if you're trespassing in that area, obviously it's told that you would get a curse. Rumors of shapeshifters.
Yeah, and you know a lot about shapeshifters, right?
Right.
Like, because you've studied all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, what's a good spirit to see? I mean, obviously, there's some good spirits, some bad spirits, right?
Yeah, if you say you're going along in this area, and you see a gray fox, that's supposed to be a manifestation of evil.
Which is that common in Colorado?
Yes.
Gray fox? Okay.
Yeah. On the other hand, if you see a coyote, which is also common, it's supposed to be considered good, and you have a good entity watching over you.
Don't coyotes eat people, though?
No.
They don't attack people?
No. Well, I mean, if they have rabies, but they generally, avoid human contact.
Yeah. What about gray foxes? Do they attack people usually? No.
Again, so it's if they have rabies.
So you just see them.
If you see one, yeah.
So if you see a gray fox pass you, and you know that you're on, which is pretty much the entire state of Colorado. That's pretty much it. The entire state of Colorado is Native American land.
Yeah.
So if you see a gray fox or a coyote, you'd want to see a coyote.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. According to legends, yeah. It's, a coyote's good news, gray fox would be bad news. And there's all kinds of other omens and good and bad within the animal kingdom specifically that are considered sacred and not.
Okay, so
when it comes to like a buck or an elk.
Yeah, they're usually protectors.
But bucks, usually are considered protectors. It all varies. It also varies depending on the tribe too. I mean, everyone's different, but.
And you said skinwalkers, right?
Yeah, well, shapeshifters.
Shapeshifters. Are skinwalkers and shapeshifters the same thing, or are they
no?
different?
They're different. I mean, I guess you could consider them. They both change forms or whatever, but shapeshifters are something that can assume the form of whatever. Skinwalkers specifically are spirits from First World that end up in our world for whatever reason. They're really corrupted, evil, terrible spirits, and skinwalkers will find the skin of something dead, some kind of animal or human sometimes, and they will assume that skin.
Oh, okay.
And they're like really mutated, twisted versions of what that thing was in life.
So they don't look like it at all?
At a distance they would, but if you got anywhere near it, it'd be completely
so
it'd be warped. It'd be warped, and it'd be
God,
really gross. And,
I think I'd
weird.
rather see a shapeshifter. Really,
yeah, it's because shapeshifter is going to take the form, it would look like.
It would look exactly like that.
Right.
So, yeah, okay. Yeah. So with that, I mean, that probably plays a big role, wouldn't you say, about the urban legends and stuff? Because, I mean, with those kind of curses, you don't want to play around with those at all.
No.
And stuff. And this guy building his house there, or even Colorado building its road through it, right. I mean, was probably a big smack in the face of these Native Americans. And those curses, I mean, they're dangerous. So I think that I personally think that has a lot with what's going on. I don't know why it would just start in the 70s. Maybe they go back a little bit more.
Yeah, it was probably there before. Excuse me, before that. But it's just where a lot of these specific ones that we're talking about today have taken place during.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna switch back to the road again. There is actually a really horrific past of Colorado. Besides the mistreatment of Native Americans, there was also slaves. And like any other state back then, or territory back then, they weren't too kind to their slaves.
Right.
And unfortunately, there was a lot of lynchings. So along this road, people have reported seeing former slaves or ghosts swinging from trees. And they've actually had a lot of calls because of this. Yeah,
it's said during full moons, you look into the cottonwood trees, you'll be able to see the bodies of the slaves hanging from them, swinging from the trees.
Yeah.
Which, of course, would be absolutely terrifying to witness, even if you saw it for just an instant.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you would probably immediately call the police.
Right.
So I'm probably 100% sure every call to the police station is about
I'm sure those
from that road.
I'm sure they're dismissed as crazy people or drug addicts or whatever. But
it's happened so many times where it's like there's no one there and stuff. But I don't know, like being a rookie on the force and getting that call, I mean, I would be terrified, especially when I went out there.
To go out there.
Yeah, went out there and no one's there
in the middle of the night. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just a huge part of that history. And
now, we're talking with all of these legends, and I think the reason that we selected these ones is, if you think about it, they all can be interconnected in some way or another. For instance, there's another legend about a little boy that was on his way to school, and he gets hit by a car.
Yeah, I've heard this one.
Right, which is sad enough,
Yeah.
but now his spirit, roams around the road, smearing his bloody handprints on street signs, and then people can see those bloody handprints on the street
you don't
signs.
Think it's the kids from the house?
But at the morning, those handprints are gone. It could be the kids from the house, or it could be the Ghost Camaro again. It could be, maybe it was the Ghost Camaro that hit this kid.
Yeah,
we don't know. But yeah, you're right. It could very well be one of the children from the house. As well.
Is it multiple handprints, or is it just? Can you tell it's just from one child?
It doesn't really specify. Just having bloody handprints from any kind of child smeared on the street sign would be bad enough. But
and they're gone by morning.
Yeah, they're always gone by the morning. So they could be pranks. It could be some kids just. But then if you were thinking of that, then why would they? Yeah, why wouldn't they still be there? So don't know.
I mean, that's always the kids' urban legends are probably the hardest and stuff because they're so innocent,
right,
and stuff. And my thing is if the kids in the house moved on, why wouldn't the boy from the bus accident happen? Why wouldn't he move on?
I don't
know. Maybe he was a little bit older.
Could be. Yeah.
So we're going to go on to the Jogger on Jogger Hill.
Yes.
Now, I'm not familiar with this. I just heard this. So I'm going to pass it over to you. Right. Give me some background on it, and we'll chat about it for a little bit.
The story is basically Jogger goes for a run along the dirt road, and the child got hit. And they died, and the spirit like a lot of the stories is said to be wandering the road. So you got the lady in white, this child, the Phantom Camaro, the Jogger, all on this stretch of road.
Car safety is not a big concern on this road.
No, it's not. It's said that if you want to find the Jogger, you park your car at the top of the hill, you turn off your engine, and you wait for however long, and then he'll appear. Another way is you just drive along the road or walk along the road where the Jogger did, and you'll be able to hear the sounds of his footsteps behind you or heartbeat if you're on foot, which would be absolutely creepy as hell. You just hear footsteps or a heartbeat even. You turn around, there's nothing there.
Yeah, wouldn't you hear of your own because you're scared? Because I know when your heart's racing.
Yeah, it could be, but I mean, I'm sure that people are able to differentiate the difference between their heartbeat and somebody else's heartbeat. Would sound different, but if you're in the car, you can hear someone kicking or pushing on your car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, like, say one of the ways that you decided to find this dude is that you parked at the top of the hill and turn off the engine. You can hear him kicking or pushing on the car, leaving a handprint on the windows if it's like dewy or a lot of condensation or whatever. It says that you don't ever want to let the Jogger reach the driver's side of the car, because if you let him reach the driver's side of the car, you're screwed. You're dead. You're done.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Even if you lock your doors?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You do not want him to reach. If you go to try and find him, people, do not let him reach the driver's side of the door.
Well, the passenger would be safe.
I wouldn't even want to be a passenger, honestly. I wouldn't be up and trying to find this dude in the first place, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, there's some brave souls out there that will. I mean, I'm sure they'll go up and down this road.
Right.
And I'm sure there are people that go up and down this road looking for all this stuff. There's stories about demonic seances, witchcraft. Probably most of the time is in the house that burned down, the rubble and stuff.
The gate where the gates still are,
and stuff. And it's just. What's your favorite out of all the urban legends we ran through them fast.
Yeah.
So let's go back. What's your favorite?
I would have to say probably the Phantom Camaro, just because it's so out there, compared to some of the other ones. Some of the other ones, you as a general rule, it's a ghost walking in the middle of the night, lady in white. You've heard all these before. It's
children are a big.
As far as legends go, they're pretty common. But a ghost Camaro that can be seen day or night, racing people I think is pretty neat. So that would probably have to be my favorite. What would yours?
Mine, I really like the Jogger. I like the Jogger.
Brings to mind the old Hook.
Yeah, the Hook
legend,
guy. Yeah,
right?
But I mean, it just kind of like, that fear. Like when you were telling me about it, I kind of got scared. Like I wasn't even there, and I'm like, oh shit, this dude's gonna get me. I'm starting to hear like beats and stuff. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Because like, if you're alone, what's the worst thing? You hear footprints behind you. Or footsteps behind you.
Right, see footprints left on your car that has literally no explanation or reason for being there whatsoever.
You're just and you start hearing dum dum, dum dum.
Yep.
I mean, Edgar Allan Poe wrote a poem where he put a heart underneath a floorboard, and it was going boom boom, and it was driving him crazy. So I mean, that pounding of a heart, has always been in horror and always scared us and stuff. So you hear that, you hear footprints, and then you catch a glimpse of something on your passenger side.
Right.
And it's like coming to that driver's side. Oh my god! And you're trying to fucking start this car.
And it could just very well be just some random dude or a homeless guy or something like that. Yeah. But that's not what you're thinking. You're thinking, I came up here up top Jogger's Hill to find this Jogger, and here he is. I'm out.
Yeah. Which in itself, you're already scared going up there, because I don't care how big of a person you are and stuff. When you get up there, it changes. The atmosphere changes, because you know something's wrong. You know something. It's like the gates of hell. You know that they are. You know what they are, what they're supposed to be.
Right.
You know, So you automatically get scared.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I mean, I think most people that probably have died from this just died of a simple heart attack because they're so damn scared.
Right.
They're like, oh shit, the heart sound
Work
I'm
themselves
hearing
up.
is literally my heart exploding.
The mind is a powerful thing.
Yeah, and you materialize stuff, you see stuff at the corner of your eye, and I mean,
and we're not here to say, you know, whether things are
real or
true
not, yeah.
or real or
because
not.
there,
You know,
there could be. We don't know.
right?
No one knows if they're real or not. That's why the urban legends exist.
Right.
I always thought that urban legends were there to warn you.
Right.
And stuff. Obviously, in this case, it's to warn you, don't walk near this road or you're going to get killed.
Yep. Well, I think that pretty much covers all of the legends for Riverdale Road and Thornton. Probably wrap it up here. Like Alex said, we were going to be having pictures and stuff up on the website and the sources if you guys want to check it out for yourselves. If we have any listeners from Thornton or anybody who has heard these legends themselves, you know, feel free to comment. And tell us your story and what you thought of the.
Yeah.
If you had any experiences, we'd
that
love
would
to
be
hear
great.
them.
Actually, we'd love to hear that. We'd love to get some information, some
Absolutely.
background. Maybe we messed up somewhere.
Yeah,
which,
correct us, please. If you,
yeah. And they just want. I just want to know: has anybody raced this Camaro and lived?
survived? Right.
Yeah.
Or if you've heard of anybody that's raced it and died.
Yeah.
You know. So.
And if you have, sorry for your loss.
Absolutely.
And stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, I want to know about the Jogger.
Right.
I want to know about the Jogger.
For sure.
So, I know you still have family that live in Colorado.
Yes.
I mean, I would love to reach out to them to see if anybody knows about these legends.
I'll have to ask around and see if they've heard anything as well.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for listening.
Absolutely.
Like I said, all the information is going to be at Facebook. You can find the Facebook page at The Dartarian Show, and at Twitter at Dartarian Show. Thank you.